Then I'd like to just make a couple of comments on the presentations here as I had conceived this program. Number one, the presentations were very thought-provoking and will be published on the SIMPSA site at the University of California. So in the next week or 10 days, you can find the English and French versions there. And then we will seek a publisher in Great Britain to publish an English version and seek a publisher in France to publish a French version in paperback. As well, we have a very talented filmmaker here from Lyon, the Christian Bailey, who has worked diligently for many hours here behind this camera. And we will seek to put this film on the internet after it's edited. But I would like to acknowledge his hard work here with applause. If you will join me. Then, in all honesty, I sincerely regret that Stefan Karganovich was unable to attend. He was going to talk about depleted uranium, the use of depleted uranium in Kosovo. And I think that's a major omission here. His health did not permit him to come today. And then in terms of my own orientation of being educated as a Marxist at the University of Wisconsin in social history, I can't help but regret that there was very little discussion today on the role of social classes in foreign policy. That it seems like we're caught in a trap of our own vocabulary. When we describe nationalities, the Libyans or the Americans or the French, that this shapes our thinking unconsciously. And we really fail to understand the dynamics by using those words. It really turns out the light, and we fail to see a lot of important things that should be felt and stated. And my experience, of course, is that people of all social classes are very plastic, very malleable. They can say one thing one week and something quite different the next. And so you have to look at a sort of founding experiences in their lives that lend them some credibility in what they feel and think. And this, of course, is social class relationships. When the worker gets uppity, the boss punishes him. The boss is in continual exploitation of that worker. No matter how much he earns, the boss gets a great percentage of what he actually produces. These are not visible. They're not highly visible, and the bourgeoisie don't give us any vocabulary to talk about those things. It sounds like prehistoric lessons in the environment to even mention them, right? So the ideological hegemony turns us off to that language, and we're hardly capable of recognizing, as a result, what's in front of us. So this is a blindness that we all have, and I included, that we do live in a controlled society, that as one poet says, the language speaks me. I don't speak the language. That we are speaking the language of the bourgeoisie, of the press, of the television, and so on. And it's extremely hard to get out of that habit. It's sort of like free jazz, right? You just get up and jive, and it feels good, and at the end of the day, you're not quite sure what you said. The difference between that and solfège, where you're learning music theory, which is not a lot of fun, but it produces a certain quality at the end of the day, at the end of the year. That these people who have spoken here today have put their nose to the grindstone, so to speak, and have tried to understand what's in front of them, right? And I think that they have partially succeeded, but the failure, that I include myself in this, is to not go in deeper, in more detail, of social class relationships and how that influences U.S. foreign policy. And, of course, the role of transnational corporations. What I believe from my study and from my social theory and past analyses is that it's perfectly possible within the lifetime of some of us, or maybe in 100 years from now, to see wealthy countries purchasing American imperialist infrastructure. That it's perfectly possible that transnational corporations will just simply purchase those 800 military bases around the world and continue business. This is not beyond the imagination. So you can't understand really the dynamics without understanding the social class relationships and the economic relationships at play here. That this sort of interest I brought up in New York New School of Social Research about 10 days ago, when there was a session on China with some Chinese Marxists talking about imperialism and the growth of China. And my question was, is it totally inconceivable that the Chinese will decide to buy U.S. military bases at a good price and hire U.S. military and civilian personnel to work on these bases to pursue a Chinese strategy? This is something that threw them, because like us today, they were caught in a national vocabulary and a mindset, the Chinese against the Americans, right? And they don't, rather than looking at strategy and tactics and social class relationships, on seeing all of that stuff is for sale. It just happens the owners happen to be American investors this decade. But in the future, this stuff could easily be transferred to another power, and even the personnel, as I said. The ethnic background of who works for you is irrelevant. What you want is to get a profit from that labor, right? So I think that we should all go back to Marx and read it more carefully and get out of our minds the silly cliches about Marx that the bourgeoisie have put into our minds. I think rereading Marx might turn the light on, and we'll see a lot of things that we don't see right now. Well, thank you very much for attending, and I think it's been a wonderful day. And the dessert, of course, is a piano recital and a very good meal at the restaurant. Hope you join us. Thank you.